Only the core group, the elites that were here in person get to know about the secret stuff that happened before the recording.
Exactly.
All right. So, does anybody have any questions for Dr. Brooks they want to ask? Yeah, of course. Ask. Sahil?
Yeah. So, Dr. Brooks, what made you want to go to grad school?
Oh, horrible reasons. I shouldn't answer this. Some of them were good reasons, some of them were bad reasons. So I'll start with the bad reasons and I'll work my way to the good reasons. So, and they're varying degrees of good and bad. So, one reason was, I I guess, sort of twofold in a way. So one was I was lazy, which that's a really bad reason because grad school's a lot of work. So that's not good. But when I was graduating, I saw my friends and my peers, looking for jobs, and just seemed, soul crushing. Just submitting application, resume after resume after resume, and getting rejected or not hearing back, or then finally hearing back and doing it, going through the whole process, and then not getting in, things like that. And so, I saw that, I thought, I don't want that rejection. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to have that rat race. And so grad school was kind of, applying to grad school, I should say, was a path of least resistance. Grad school is not a path of least resistance. It's like a brick wall. But it's kind of a path of least resistance because I thought, okay, I think I can be competitive in going to grad school. But looking for a job, my resume is pretty bad. I wouldn't hire me. And then, that leads to, one of the better reasons for going, which was, I didn't feel qualified to go out and get a job. I just had this specific thought: what if I somehow trick an employer into hiring me for like designing bridges? I don't know how to design a bridge. I can't do that. I didn't take any classes on designing bridges. I'd have no clue. And part of that comes from the fact that I was a very poor student as an undergrad, and I did what a lot of you guys do, which is I focused really hard on, I got to get an A, get an A on this in this class, or I can get a job. And at the end of the day, I graduated. I had an okay GPA. It could have been better, but could have been worse. It's okay, and is serviceable. But the GPA was all I had to show for it. If anyone asked me an actual question about a class or engineering, I'd say, oh, I don't know. I don't know any of that. I memorized everything for the exam, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I was kind of just monkey see, monkey do. So I didn't feel really qualified. So I was hoping that maybe by going to grad school, I'll get whipped into shape, and grad school definitely will do that to you. So that's good. And then on top of that, this is somewhat related. In all of your undergraduate classes, they're all introductory classes: introduction to numerical methods, introduction to heat transfer, introduction to fluids, all that kind of stuff. And so in every class, they always say, okay, yeah, assume no drag, assume blah blah blah. You assume everything away, and it's like, but wait a minute, this isn't what real life is like. So what do I do? What do I do in real life? And so I was hoping that maybe in grad school we might learn a little bit more about that, dig a little bit deeper, so that I'd know, okay, what do we actually do for that kind of stuff? So that's a better reason. And then kind of a mid-tier reason was my girlfriend at the time was also graduating, and she was going to grad school. And so, we weren't really sure, like, hey, should I try and go get a job? And like, what if I get a job in like Oregon or something? Are we going to do long distance? What's going to go on? And so again, it was kind of it was the right fit for us to both do grad school together. And so, I partially want to do grad school for bad reasons, partially for good reasons. It ended up working out for me. Uh, that's a survivor bias, but worked out for me. But another thing, I guess, I kind of say this jokingly, but it's also true in a sense. I was always pretty good at school, except for when I was crappy at it. but I was always relatively good at school. And so I thought, hey, I'll do some more school. And so, I just stayed in school as long as I could stay in school. And then when I finally did all the school I was allowed to do, I got a job at school. So I'm a fan of school. What can I say? I like school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So on that note, do you plan on continuing your career as a professor?
Well, a slight correction, I'm not actually a professor. So here at UF, there's a distinction between professor and lecturer. So I'm a lecturer. And so, there are various differences between the two roles. So, the main, the two main differences are I'm not tenured. I'm not tenure track. I can't get tenured. My contract is renewed every year annually. And I don't have that cover in a way. And then two, my my charge from the department is more teaching focused. So I don't do any research. We're allowed to kind of do some research if we want, but we don't have the same kind of support as lecturers, and I don't really have an interest in doing that really. I like the teaching part, so it's kind of good fit for me, because as a professor, being a tenure track faculty, you have a lot more responsibilities, which I don't have any desire to to put onto myself. And so but do I plan on staying on this course? I probably not. Probably not, unfortunately, for a couple reasons. So one, I have what's called the two-body problem in engineering. If we have any is AIAA. We have a lot of aerospace engineers, but it's called the two-body problem, which is my wife did grad school as per my previous story. And, I finished my PhD before she finished hers. And so, we're kind of in a holding pattern to a certain degree while she finished up her PhD. And so she's done now. She's now a professor, assistant professor at Coastal Carolina University. Go Chanticleers, number 15 in the nation, wink, undefeated, and blew out Texas State on Saturday. But so it's difficult. It's difficult having a significant other students. It's great because we both live here. We're students or whatever. Um, but once you're out in the world, it's much harder because she wants to have a career. I don't know if I want to have a career, but I like money, so I'll have a career. But so we need to find something kind of together. And so, unfortunately, very difficult for her to get a job here in Gainesville. And so, I could potentially maybe get a teaching job, professor, lecturer somewhere at some other university. But, I don't know if that really drives me, if I'm an instructor at, I don't know, Georgia Southern University, of Louisville, Louisville University. I don't know how much, teaching a bunch of Louisville Cardinals. I don't know how much I care about that. I like teaching Florida Gators. So, so I don't know. I don't know, but probably there will be some kind of shift at some point. Cool.
Wow. Crazy to hear that you're planning on leaving Dr. Brooks, because you're the best professor I think I've had in my past years here, 3 years. So
that's high praise.
Definitely a great one. Kyle.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. It's tough because I really, it's like, do we have any Doctor Who fans here? Any Doctor Who fans? Yeah. So, when a doctor quits, right? The doctor quits, like David Tennant, for example, quits. And you know, what do they always say? They always say, you know, this has been such a dream. This is a dream job being the doctor. It's like, then why are you quitting, bro? You know, I finally kind of understand it because, you know, being here at the University of Florida as a faculty member is just an absolute dream. You know, literally it's like out of a dream. Because, you know, my dad was the first member of his family to go to college, and it was his dream to go to the University of Florida, but his family, his family was too poor, couldn't do it, and so he had to go to UCF. It was FTU back then, and he worked really hard, really hard, so that he could then go to law school at the University of Florida, and so he did go to law school here at UF, and you know, back in the 50s, you know, one of the reasons that he was even a Gator fan was my grandfather. And I apologize, it's kind of a rambling answer. This is what my class is like for those who haven't had my class. But my grandfather was a like a carpenter contractor type guy. He did, you know, he's a kind of a real handyman type guy, and so he did a lot of work for a bunch of kind of rich university, you know, people. And as part of his payment, you know, they would kind of get, as part of the, like the perks, I guess, of working for them, they would give him kind of like free tickets and stuff to football games. And so he brought my grandmother up to Gainesville, kind of to get away from their 5 kids for a day, to go watch the Gators play. And you know, at that point in the 1950s, they're doing that. No one in the family had ever been to college. They were just absolutely destitutely poor, you know, very poor. And you know, it's just really surreal. In when I got hired, it was Dan Mullen's first year, and he kind of had an open practice, open to faculty and staff from the university. And so I went, and it was just a really surreal feeling being there as a faculty member, thinking about in the 50s. You know, I asked my grandmother, could you have imagined in the 1950s when you're driving up to Gainesville to come see the Gators play in, you know, this the rinky-dink stadium? It wasn't the stadium that we know today. That your grandson would be a faculty member at UF, and you know, it's just not even within the realm of daring to dream. That's what was that in the 50s. And so it's just, you know, it's really surreal. It's a dream job for me working here. I'm so appreciative of this opportunity. But at the same time, you know, all good things come to an end. And so I really understand what you know, the various doctors, actors who play the doctor refer to when they say this is a dream job, but now it's, you know, it's time to move on. Because it is a dream job, but at some point it'll be time to move on. That'll be really sad. Bittersweet.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Dr. Brooks. I think
Thank you.
Kyle,
Thank you for enduring me.
I think Kyle had a question.
So I had a kind of a quick question. So what advice would you give to undergrads deciding between aerospace and mechanical engineering?
You know, that's a really good one. I have my joke answers, which are true, but also jokes.
I'll take those two.
Then I have maybe, do I have a real answer? I don't know. I'll start with the joke answers. We'll see if a real one comes out of it. You know, so you know, I had the same issue. You know, when I went to preview, I was gung ho aerospace, and I was like, you know, I want to work on rockets. I want to you know, do space stuff. That's, you know, that's my dream. And you know, I was talking to my friend who was doing electrical engineering in California, and I was talking to him like, yeah, I'm totally doing aerospace. I'm like, dude, don't do aerospace, do mechanical. It's like, no way, mechanical's boring. I don't want to work on HVAC systems. And he's like, no, do mechanical. It's so much broader. You have so many more opportunities. And I was like, right, opportunities for boring stuff. I want to do cool stuff. I'm doing aerospace. And you know, back in the day, I don't know how it is now with you whippersnappers, but back in the day for a preview, there would be like a stenographer, secretary type person that sat at a computer, and you would dictate to that person what major you wanted, and then that person would would put it in. So we didn't like put it in ourselves. And so, you know, it's my turn to meet with this woman, and she asked, okay, what major do you want? And, you know, right up to that moment, I was aerospace. And then I opened my mouth and said mechanical. And so, you know, the reason that I went with mechanical was I thought, you know what, I'd rather have a boring job than no job. And so, you know, the kind of the quote unquote fear maybe would be that, you know, with the aerospace, you're really specialized in aerospace, whereas mechanical is very broad. And so I'd rather, you know, it's like, you know, if aerospace, if you get a job, you got a cool job, but you also might not have a job. Whereas mechanical, you get a job, but it might be a boring job. And so you know, I went with, I'd rather have a job because, you know, I made the same calculation in high school. I was going between engineering and animation, and I went with engineering because of the job security. Engineering much stabler, much better choice in that sense. And so I kind of stuck with that. Now, in retrospect, was that really a valid, you know, like calculus to have made? I don't know, because, you know, aerospace and mechanical are just so similar. You know, they're really transferable skills. And then also the delineation between the types of engineering are much blurrier than they used to be. Because, you know, you think like, oh, I'm going to do mechanical, and it's like, why am I taking circuits? And it's like, because you got to know that for mechanical. Why am I doing programming? That's part of engineering. So you know, you have to, you know, as an engineer, you have to be a little bit of an electrical engineer. You have to be a little bit of a civic engineer. You have to civil engineer. You have to be a little bit of an aerospace engineer, mechanical engineer, computer scientist, computer engineer, whatever. So the skills are transferable. You know, I think you know, the title of the degree is a little bit, there's a little bit too much emphasis put on that to a certain degree, because, you know, as long as you can demonstrate that you have skills that are valuable, you know, you don't necessarily have, if you're a mechanical engineer, you can get an aerospace job as long as it's, you know, it's a job that's kind of within your skill set. And same with aerospace, you can get a mechanical job as long as it's a job that's within your skill set. You get an electrical job if it's a job that's within your skill set. It's a little bit harder to do that one, but, you know, it can happen. But so, you know, picking between the two, I would more probably just look at the curricula. You know, look at the classes that you have to take as an aerospace, that you get to take as an aerospace engineer. Look at the classes that you get to take as a mechanical engineer, and ask yourself, which of these sounds more interesting to me? And that's, you know, it's a little bit hard, because it's like, well, I don't know. I don't know anything. I haven't taken these classes yet. I don't know. Maybe they're terrible. Maybe they're death. I don't know. But so I would, you know, I would go based on the class, because you're gonna have to take them. And you know, with mechanical is very broad. It's a very broad topic, and so as such, the curriculum is very broad. You know, you get a big sampling, sampling of lots of different areas. You know, whereas aerospace is a little bit more refined, and, you know, that's good and bad, because, you know, that makes you more versatile in mechanical. But also, if you just absolutely hate something like, say, heat transfer, too bad. You're gonna have like several classes on that. You know, if you hate I don't know, something else, you have several classes on that. Versus aerospace, you know, I'm not as familiar with that curriculum, because I am a mechanical engineer. But aerospace, you know, like if you hate Diffie Q2, well, or Diffie Q in general, there's a whole advanced, you know, Diffie Q2 that you have to take, that kind of stuff. So I'd look at the curricula, required courses, and see, but they're very similar. You know, my roommate was an aerospace engineer, and we had the exact same schedule, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. It wasn't until senior year that we finally kind of split up.
Thank you, Dr. Brooks.
Thank you.
What's your opinion on doing both? Because I know you can do a dual degree in mechanical and aerospace at UF.
You know, I don't know if I have like a really strong opinion, but it's definitely a thing you can do. I would say, you know, if you're planning on going to grad school, don't waste your time doing both, probably, because you're gonna, you know, grad school is about specializing. So it's like, okay, I'll just be really broad so I can specialize. It doesn't really make sense. I think it you know, it does make you a little bit more versatile, you know, because you can look at all these different jobs and be like, yeah, I took class on that. Yeah, I know how to do that. Yeah, I can do that. But, you know, it's also more classes, takes longer. being recorded, so I don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Undergrad is fun. College is fun. School's fun, I say, but just undergrad life is a lot more fun than grad life, than adult life. Some people may disagree, but that's my viewpoint. So if I could go back, if I could steal your lives, I would do it. Just stay Van Wilder style, stay in undergrad the whole time forever. So by doing a double, you extend your undergrad a little bit. It's kind of nice. Or it's terrible if you hate undergrad and you hate college. Some people just want to get out. I don't understand those people, but that's that's certainly an opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate your honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dr. Brooks.
What's up? How are you?
Doing pretty good. So I missed a little bit at the beginning. So tell me if you cover this already. And
I just told all the secrets of life. That's all.
Okay. I didn't need that anyway. Kind of a follow up on the last question. You said you liked your undergrad a lot. When you became a lecturer, how did you kind of transition from student Dr. Brooks at 666ufl.edu to a professional employee? How did that transition work? Did you?
Oh well, yeah. Sorry, I kind of interrupted you.
No, that was it.
Okay. How did the transition work? Well, the weirdest thing is that all the faculty, I was their student, right? And so they were Dr. So and so to me, as Dr. Banks, and then graduated as, hi Scott, how are you? And so that's probably the weirdest transition, but you got to just really lean in. Just got to be like, now we're switching, we're going with it. It's going to be a little bit weird for the first month or so, and then we'll all get used to it. I'm here, it's me, let's deal with it and move on, to quote Rhodey. The transition is interesting because from the when you're on the instructor side, you have such a different perspective of classes in general, classes, teaching, learning, all that stuff, and you also realize it's a lot harder than it looks. When I took the job, I thought this will be a pretty easy job here. Just go teach, talk about numerical methods for a little bit, maybe write a couple homeworks, and then you start teaching and you realize, whoa, this is a lot more than kind of it looks like. But maybe the other biggest transition was that for my entire undergrad and grad, I very specifically was the tie-dye Pokemon guy. And that is to say that I wore tie-dye shirts most days, and I wore a Pokemon hat every day, everywhere, all over the place, all over campus. And then I became a faculty member, and no longer a grad student, which grad student is a synonym for bum. And so I was like, I probably should start wearing more professional-ish clothes, like ones with collars, not in maybe one solid color, not tie-dye. And I should probably wear not cargo pants, because that's what I wear also. And also probably I shouldn't wear a hat. And that's not actually totally true, because the nice thing about working at university is that it very lax kind of dress codes and stuff. Professors come in t-shirts and whatnot, but I thought I should probably try and look a little bit nice. And so my first meeting with the chair, after I got hired, I wanted to kind of talk and kind of know, what do I need to know? And so I wanted to wear a nice shirt. And so I was like, well, one with a collar, what do I have? All I have is a Star Trek red shirt. All right, I'll wear it. And so that's what I wore to go talk to the chair. And so that was it. That was in December. I got hired to start in January. And so I actually went with my wife and bought an entirely new wardrobe that over winter break, and spent over $2,000 on new clothes. So, and that's the dapper guy you all know and love now. A lot of money. Those are all 50% off, by the way. All the clothes is a 50% off after Christmas sale. $2,000. Clothes are expensive.
I'm sure you kept a couple of tie-dye shirts in there somewhere.
You know, they're in my dresser, but I don't wear them because now they're like sacred things. It's like, you know, they only have so many, you know, wears. So now I only wear them for very special occasions. But of course, yes. Did I keep the shirt, Star Trek shirt? Yes, I wore it the other day. I wear it all the time. Make sure to have either a Star Trek or Austin Powers background when I do it on Zoom. But it's you know, just to segue off of my answer, because you know, I had never bought clothes before. That was the first time I ever bought clothes. I was well, I was 27. It's the first time I really bought clothes, because before that, my sister always would give me some kind of like nerdy or Star Wars Marvel t-shirt for my birthday. So I got shirts that way. Everyone, actually, I don't think I even bought pants because I was wearing the same khaki cargo pants since high school. You know, I'm still wearing them. I'm wearing some right now. And so I really didn't buy any clothes. So it was a really new experience buying clothes. Like, okay, what do I do? What sizes am I? I don't, oh my God, these are expensive. So, you know, I was lucky to have avoided buying clothes up till then. And then, you know, time to pay the piper. But it's really important to understand. You don't necessarily have to agree or conform to this, but it's really important to understand the power of your clothes. Because, you know, we are social creatures, and we, you know, we have emotions as humans, and we make judgments upon people, and sometimes those are unfair judgments, and so we judge people by their covers, by their clothes, by how they present themselves. And you know, there is and so when you dress nicely, people have a more positive outlook on you. And so, you know, you don't have to dress nicely, but you have to understand that is a consequence. That's people aren't gonna, you know, if you dress nicer, people would, you know, take more notice of you. And, you know, that happened really starkly in one of my classes, because I wore just like a polo and I think maybe cargo pants one day. I can't remember. And you know, a student, I heard this secondhand from a student. A student, you know, was not a fan and leaned over and was like, "I don't like this guy. He's not very professional. I'm not a fan of this person." After a lecture, and then, you know, I came in the next class in a 3-piece suit. And then apparently that same student leaned over to her friend, the same guy, and said, "I really like this guy. He's so professional. He's really, just really, you know, really slick, really neat. This was an awesome lecture. I love this guy." And it's like nothing changed between the lectures. You know, I have the same style in every lecture. It's a fact of life. Got to be aware of that. For the record, I pitched wearing a tie-dye suit to my wedding. It was vetoed, but that is what I pitched.
I appreciate it.
Nice. Actually, you know, the biggest transition, it's not necessarily a transition, but, you know, the weirdest thing when I started teaching was, you know, I went into my first class ever, first lecture, first section ever, is an MEB. And, you know, Dr. Benitez asked, like, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "No, why would I be nervous? I don't have anything for you know, these kids. I already have my PhD. You know, learning is their problem." But I wasn't really that nervous. But it was really weird because, you know, not given a lot of guidance. This is like, "All right, you're teaching numerical methods." And I'm like, "Oh, I am." Like, "So what should I teach?" And it's like, "No, just get in there and start teaching." And so, you know, we really are the captains of our own classes. We get, you know, we get to kind of forge them the way we want to. And so it's really fun, having that leeway of like, okay, how do I want to teach this and all that kind of stuff. But it was also very intimidating because, you know, I just thought, like, you know, I sat down with a piece of paper, numerical methods. I don't know, what should I say? Like, do I just list a bunch of algorithms and say do these, what do I do? And how do I form a story in class that's coherent where things connect together? It's very, it's very weird kind of coming up with a lesson plan for the first time. And then the weirdest thing though was when I came into my first class and I started talking. And the students, they were so great. I love my first class, and they're so wonderful. But they started writing stuff down, and I thought, I was like, "Hello, this is numerical methods. We're here for numerical methods." And they start writing, and I'm like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Then it almost felt like they're mocking you in a way of like, you like kind of like when someone's repeating you and you say, stop doing that. And they stop doing that. I'd say something and then they'd write it down. why are you writing this down? No, that was just an offhand comment. Why are you writing that down? And it's just such a weird, took several weeks or months for me to get used to like me saying a thing and then everyone writing it down. Felt so weird. And then, fast forward to, Colin, your semester when I had you guys, if I said something, that was my second semester. If I had said something and people didn't write things down, I'd start yelling at them. What are you doing? Write that down. Are you a bad student? Funny how quickly it changes. But that was a very weird, jarring thing when students were writing down things that I was saying. What a weird phenomenon.
That's definitely a change now with Zoom U.
What do you mean?
No more writing sounds or any
I can't tell.
Facial responses.
Every joke falls flat.
I'm sure everyone laughs.
Only to keep from crying.
I laughed there, don't worry.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I agree. People were laughing. I'm sure people were laughing over summer. I remember I was laughing over summer when I had you for controls.
Oh, well, thank you. Controls, what a special time, right? What a yes. See, everyone here that wasn't. Let me. I'm looking to see if anyone was in. Sophia was here. Oh, Christian was there. Okay, Gavin
was there.
Oh, Alina was there. Yeah, what am I talking about? Dang, we got a bunch of. Right, we have some all-stars here. That was a really special class for those who are in my classes now and in my future classes. You have a lot to live up to, and the controls peeps here can testify. This is a really special class.
Dr. Brooks, why did you do your master's before your PhD?
Well, because it's kind of weird to get a PhD and not get a master's because there are two types of master's degrees, and I thought so there's a master's with thesis and master's without thesis, and I had thought that master's with thesis was kind of the norm because it seemed kind of weird to get a master's without thesis. But I talked to another like a former PhD student from my lab. He had come to recruit and visit, something like that. He was working at Sandia National Lab, and I was talking to him, and he wasn't even familiar. He was like, "Wait, a master's with thesis? What are you talking about?" And so I came to learn, and I don't necessarily know this other than from this one story, is that a master's with thesis is actually kind of a weirdo out of the norm thing. So I thought, oh, that's good, because I want to do a master's without thesis, because for a master's without thesis, all it is you take more classes, take graduate classes. Then once you get enough credits, say master's degree, please. Here you go. Okay, thanks. You do have to take like a little exam, but it's not that big a deal. But so master's with thesis, you have to do research. You have to do, it's like a little mini PhD, much lower stakes, lower expectations, but it's like a little mini PhD. You have to do research, have to give a presentation to professors. They grill you, they confer upon you. Yes, you get your master's degree. I didn't want to have to go through that because I said, I'm already doing PhD here. Why would I do a mini one here? That's just, that's a waste of my time. I don't want to spend effort working on that kind of stuff. And so I just did a master's without thesis, which is to say that as I'm doing my PhD, as you do your PhD, you take classes. And so just once I had taken enough classes that I hit the credit limit, I just checked the box online, said master's degree, please, here you go. And I said, all right, thanks, great. I have a master's degree, and then I went back to work the next day. You know, so it was very unceremonious, you know, for the master's degree. So you know, why did I get the master's? Because it was there. Yeah. You know, it's a nice, you know, they can't take it away from you once you get it. So, you know, if you crash and burn in the PhD, you decide to quit, you got the master's degree. Versus if you don't get the master's degree and you decide to quit your PhD, it's like, well, what do you have then? Nothing. You know, what have you been doing? You don't have nothing. You have a lot of experiences and experience, which is valuable. But it's nice to have the certificate in the form of a degree, say master's degree. Got it.
Right. That's cool. Thank you. That's
Kind of
really
like
helpful.
a checkpoint in Mario.
Yeah. Cool.
So would you recommend a master's with thesis or master's without thesis if you're going the PhD route?
If you're going to PhD route, you know, it's kind of up to you because, like, you know, you can see it as, oh, a master's with thesis is going to be like practice for the real deal, quote unquote, you know, the hard version. And that may be good. For me, I wasn't really interested in practice. You know, if you're kind of intimidated by public speaking, maybe it's a good experience to get a little bit more used to it. I've never had a problem with public speaking. I don't, you know, I don't really care. I'll make a fool of myself or whatever. So for me, it was like, it's gonna be, I'm gonna have to put together a presentation. I'm gonna have to type up a document. I don't want to do any of this. But you know, so it's really up to you. You know, I would probably generally lean towards without thesis because you know, with thesis, again, that's only gonna be, it's only going to be really meaningful and like impressive or whatever for like employers, I guess, maybe. And if you're already doing a PhD, say you do your PhD and you quit halfway through, you decide, no, it's not for me. I'm going to bail. And you have your master's without thesis, then you've still been doing research the whole time. You know, just the fact that you probably have papers published at that point. The fact that whether you have the thesis or the not thesis, it's not really that important because, you know, in a job interview, you can talk about your research that you've done. And there, you know, it's not really important of like, well, you did this research, but did you get a, you know, master's with thesis with it? It's like, no, I didn't. So I'd probably lean towards without thesis, but you know, it's a good dry run. I'd say that's the main benefit of doing the with thesis if you're doing PhD.
And was UF was your only option? Was that was the only option you were considering pretty much?
At what point?
To go into your master's.
Yes.
After undergrad, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, again, you know, one of my driving factors was that my girlfriend at the time, wife now, was staying here for graduate school. So I didn't have much interest in going and being like a Tar Heel or something somewhere, you know, a boiler maker, boiler maker, whatever Purdue is, or, you know, something like that, and Illini. So I'm a Gator.
Cool. Thank you, Dr. Brooks.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions?
I was just oh, sorry, go ahead, Ravina.
All right, well, I was just gonna ask like how research is for like PhD, like getting the PhD, essentially.
How is it? You know, I guess I'll say hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you mean by how exactly?
I don't know. It's just I know someone's doing a PhD, not in, like engineering, and he's working on like 3 projects at a time, and it seems like I don't know, like thinking about real work as an undergrad and like the type of work I'm doing right now, I'm like, I have no idea how I'm gonna get to that level, I guess. Well, is it like something, yeah.
Go ahead.
I lost where I was going.
Okay.
I was kind of rambling.
Well, quick question. What are they, is your friend getting a PhD in?
Astronomy.
Oh, that's fun. Cool.
Yeah.
What a great thing to get a PhD in. Better job prospects for us engineers, though.
Yeah.
but astronomy's fun. But you know, so it depends. So a really important thing to realize is that a PhD in different fields are vastly different. PhD in English, way different than a PhD in engineering, and so it's hard to, you know, necessarily compare in that way. So, you know, if your friend's getting a PhD in astronomy, I don't know exactly what astronomy is like. I've never gotten a PhD in that. But in general, they're very, very, very different. And then even within just engineering, they're very, very different. And you know, it depends on a lot on your advisor. And so that's a really critical choice to make if you're thinking about getting a PhD. You know, that's probably the most important choice is the advisor, because you need an advisor who's excuse me, I'm going to mute myself because I need to cough. Whoo, I'm back. You know, everyone has different mentorship styles. Everyone has different menteeship styles. And so you need an advisor whose style fits your style. And, you know, it's not like, oh, this is the right way and this is the wrong way. Everyone has different ways, and some work and some, you know, for some people and some, and not for other people. And so there's some advisors who are very hands off, and it's like, you know, okay, I'll see you in 3 months. We'll see how you do, you know, and then, you know, 3 months, like, oh, I have all this stuff done, or I have nothing done, you know, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that style myself. But I know some people whose advisors were like that, and they're, you know, they're like, yeah, I used to meet with my advisor once a semester. And it's like, how does that work? How do you know that you're doing good things? How are you staying on track? How's that remotely possible? Somehow they make it work. I don't know. There are other advisors who are very micromanagerial, and, you know, maybe you might be like, no, I need that rigidity and you know, that to keep me honest, so to speak. And then others are in the middle. And so, you know, everyone's different. You have to find your right style. So like for me, I kind of like in the middle. But so there's that, you know, it's just, you know, the experiences are very, very different. And all the experiences also very much depend on what you're doing. So, you know, for me, a lot of my work was computational, theoretical, numerical. So most of my work was sitting at a desk typing MATLAB code or Python code or new code, you know, Unix code and stuff. And so that, you know, I could do from the comfort of my own home, you know, for the most part. So, you know, I didn't necessarily have to come into the lab to work. You know, I did because, you know, you get more work done there, better. But, you know, I could go home and work too. Versus like, you know, my friend was working on carbon fiber golf clubs and things like that. And he would have to actually like make stuff with like do experiments and stuff using machinery. And so he couldn't do any of that, you know, that's at home. He needs lab equipment. And so he would have to come in on weekends. He would have to come in late at night to use these you know, this equipment. You know, on the one hand, that's kind of fun that you get to use equipment and be big man on campus, coming in late at night, coming on a weekend, working, you know, using all this stuff. On the other hand, I got to work from home from time to time. You know, on weekends, I could work from home. You know, I pretty much never came in. I would work on weekends, but I wouldn't come in on weekends. Versus, you know, my friend would have to come in pretty much every weekend. But so speaking to the you know, I can't see myself, I don't know how I'll get on that level. You know, you do it incrementally. It's, you know, it's hard stuff. It's really, really hard stuff. And there's definitely a very big adjustment period when you start grad school, specifically PhD, because when you know, when I was talking about this with some students today, when you come out of undergrad, as hard as it is, you know, you kind of you don't know anything, not enough to really be a useful PhD student. Because for a PhD, you have to do really hard stuff. In undergrad, you only learn the basic stuff, and, you know, the introductory stuff. And so, you know, you have to spend a while taking really hard classes, reading a lot of really confusing papers so that you can finally know enough that you can actually do something useful. And so it's a real adjustment period trying to get to that point. And but that's, you know, that's part of it. It's, you know, the first year of PhD is the hardest year because it's just, you know, it's just getting punched in the face constantly, but you get there. And, you know, for example, and this is really important, not just with the PhD, but just life in general, you know, and do it, you know, think about, do it for you as an undergrad, to do it for you just as at the end of this, you know, at the end of the semester in December versus the beginning of the semester in August. It's really important to reflect upon your growth, on your own growth, because, you know, these classes are hard, college is hard, school's hard, life's hard, and it can feel like you're not making any progress. You know, just constantly bad grade after bad grade after bad grade, punch in the face after punch in the face, punch in the face, punch in the face. Okay, now I think I finally got my feet on a punch in the face, and you know, it can feel like, man, I'm getting my ass kicked. But you'd be surprised at how much you know, how much growth that you have, because, you know, the analogy I make is, it's like if you have to push a boulder, you know, 2 miles or something like that, and so you're sitting there pushing really hard and you're looking down, takes everything you have to push 1 inch, and you're just going to move 1 inch at a time, and you know, after hours and hours and hours of pushing, you're just like, oh my god, I'm not making any progress, I'm just inches. But that's why it's important to look up and realize, oh dang, those added up. I've actually come a long way. And you know, for me personally, so first, you know, I guess maybe this is kind of related to, there's something called imposter syndrome, which many of you probably suffer from. Don't suffer from it. You know, it's not gonna help you. Imposter syndrome is the feeling of inadequacy, that, you know, everyone else has their shit together and I'm the only one that's freaking out and dying, and you know, it's totally unprepared and inadequate. Everyone feels that way, and so you have to, you know, believe in yourself. And so, you know, there's a famous kind of, like, you know, there's a famous exercise. You go to like a seminar as a grad student, because a lot of grad students suffer from this. Who here feels like, you know, they're struggling, and you know, no one else is struggling, everyone else has all their stuff together, they're excelling, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're rock stars, and you're the only, you're just drowning in all this work, and you don't know what you're doing, you're terrified. And then everyone raises their hand, and it's like, wait, what? You? No, you're the smart one. What? No, you're the smart one, I'm the dumb one. And then, no, you're the smart one, I'm the dumb one. You know, that's imposter syndrome, and everyone feels that way. A lot of people feel that way, at least, because stuff's hard. And, you know, again, part of it is that you don't always appreciate your own growth. And so, you know, I was fortunate enough to have this really, I don't know, really nice moment where this all came together. When I first started grad school, we had an elder grad student named Siddharth. He's my mentor. As a grad student, you know, he was getting ready to graduate. He was a genius. He just knew everything. I mean, you know, I had a problem once, and I spent hours and hours, couldn't figure it out. Asked Siddharth, and you know, it took him a little bit of time, but he came back. He's like, "Yeah, here you go." I was like, "How did you figure this out?" And he, you know, he said to me, "It's just a matter of taking some time." And I thought, not for me. That's no way. I'd never figure this out. You give me all the time in the world, I wouldn't figure that out. But so Siddharth is great. He's a great guy. Really awesome guy, and a mentor for me. And so in my first year of grad school, you know, again, that first year is really tough because you don't know a lot, and you know, you only know the very narrow things you learned in your classes. And it turns out your classes are like looking through a keyhole. There's just so much more out there. The classes well, then what am I doing these classes for? Well, they're useless. Classes are just training, you know. It's like boxing against a dummy, you know. And then it's like, but in real life people move, and it's like, yeah, but you got to get good at hitting a dummy if you want to have a chance of hitting the person, right? And so the classes are just training. It's like, hey guys, here's just a smattering of stuff that's possible, here's the most common stuff. But in real life there's so much more. And so it's there so that when you go out in the real world, it's like, whoa, I haven't seen this before. You know, you have all this training to kind of fall back on. But so as a first year grad student, you know, I'm reading these papers, I'm trying to learn how, like, all these advanced techniques, all this stuff. I don't understand any of it. And so, you know, I'm just constantly, you know, it's really hard math problems that I'm trying to understand. And so just constantly I'd go to, you know, hey, Siddharth, yeah, what's this? Oh, that's blah, blah, blah. Hey, Siddharth, yeah, what's this? Blah, blah, blah. And I felt so badly for him, poor Siddharth, because he just got, he had no, he's just trying to graduate, get his PhD and get out. And he got no work done because I was just harassing him constantly, incessantly, all day, every day, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And that's not true. 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. But so and just one time in particular where it's like, hey Siddharth, and I could really hear in his voice that he was just so done with me and my shit. He's like, yeah. He's really defeated, like, oh god, this guy again. But so I'd always ask him questions, and he just always just knew the answer, and I was just like, god, what a genius. Like, how am I going to ever be on that level? Because like, he doesn't even look up it in a book. He doesn't Google it. He just, I ask him a question, he just answers it. Or I ask him, what does this work? He starts drawing pictures and explaining it. Like, I'm never gonna reach that point. And Siddharth's just a special, he's cut from a different cloth. He's a special guy. And fast forward 4 years, 5 years, however many years it is, I'm the older grad student now. We have a bunch of new, fresh meat that have joined our lab. And now I can't get any work done because they're constantly, hey, what's this? Hey, what's that? Hey, can you explain this? Da, da, da. And I'm just kind of, yeah, da, da, okay, yeah, no, it's Taylor series, blah, blah, blah. And then there's one point where one of them said, like, oh, I always come to you because you always know all the answers. Any question I have, you can answer it. And I was like, no, you guys just ask me easy questions. Ask me a hard one, I'll be stumped. I only know easy ones. You just keep asking easy ones. And then relatively soon after that, around that time, that same junior grad student asked me a question. I was like, oh, that's easy. That's just, and then I paused and I realized, because I remembered I had asked Siddharth that exact same question. And he said, yeah, that's easy. And he just explained it without looking anything up. And there I was explaining it without looking anything up. And so, it's a process. It's not just, oh yeah, just now I'm a genius. You start out, you struggle, and through anyone know the state motto of Kansas? No. Ad astra per aspera, which is to the stars through hardships, through struggles. And so, that's it. It's, you don't just like, get a free ticket of like, oh, okay, I walked in a booth, they scanned me or whatever, and I came out a genius. It's, oh, I walked into grad school and I got punched in the face for like several years and I came out and now I'm better at getting punched in the face, not worrying about it as much. And so it's a process. You grow. And it sneaks up on you. It snuck up on me for sure. I didn't feel like I was the genius elder grad student. I was just, I was just that guy, that junior grad student doing the best he could, try and graduate his PhD. And it turns out, oh dang, I am Siddharth. Cool. That was a really long one. Sorry. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
So is Siddharth, is that story anyway similar to Siddhartha from What is the Good Life? Teaching us about struggling?
So back in my day, there was no such thing as What is the Good Life. So I don't have that, I can't share that memory of pain with you guys. But no, Siddharth was just, I mean, I guess, yes, in the sense that he's named after him, right? But no, he's just a guy named Siddharth. And one of the really great great things about grad school, well, since that seems kind of be what we're talking about a lot, but I'll just plug grad school a little bit more. It's really hard, but one of the really great things for me, I'm just so thankful that I did it because of this, is you have the opportunity to, and I suppose this is true, this could be true, if you go out and get a job somewhere, you'll have this opportunity, but not quite the same as in grad school. But you get a chance to really meet people from a lot of different backgrounds and different countries. And when I was graduating, I didn't really see a lot of value in that. I didn't care. Like, okay, yeah, they have different culture and custom. That's great. I don't really care. I like my American nerd culture. I'm fine with that. They can do their thing. I'll do my thing. I'm not really interested in learning about any of that stuff. And, you know, it's just, you know, by kind of interacting with Siddharth and being friends with Siddharth, just, you know, slowly over time, you know, as he's, you know, an important person in my life, I kind of naturally just start wondering about things that are important to him and in his life, and what things are like in his culture, because he's from India. And, you know, the first moment of that was we were in Pew Hall doing some experiments, and we were setting some equipment up, and we were waiting like for a signal to come back positive or something like that. And so while we're waiting, I think I can't remember what sparked it, but like maybe I think maybe like you know, I had some revelation or something, and I said, oh my God, oh there that's it or something. And then I thought, like, you know, I don't know if I like if I offended Siddharth. I don't know. I don't know anything about like does that phrase offend him? Oh my God, I don't know. And so I asked him, hey, in India, do people say my God? And he's like, yeah, of course we say my God. Why would what's the matter with you? Why wouldn't we say my God? Yeah, we say that all the time. It's like, oh, okay. Probably don't say thank Jesus though, right? It's like, no, we don't say that one. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna throw out a thank Jesus right now that this thing's working. But so, you know, that was kind of the first moment where I was like, you know, kind of interesting how cultures are different. And so it's a really great benefit of grad school, because I got to meet people from a lot of different cultures, different backgrounds, and get to know them, and kind of get a wider perspective. And, you know, I don't like traveling, so I still don't have like a huge desire to go travel to those places. So it's really nice that in grad school, they come to you. You get to learn about their cultures without having to travel. Cool. Colin, you had a question, right? Didn't you have a question?
Oh, I was just going to ask, kind of side topic, what classes you wanted to teach next or plan on teaching?
Oh, I don't know. I've kind of run the gamut, I think, at this point for, you know, for the DSC track. You know, I've done numerical, done dynamics, done controls lab, vibrations. You know, in theory, might be interesting to try statics, just, you know, just because it's new. But in reality, no, I don't want to do that. At least not. I want one of the 50 student sections, not the 5 million student sections that, you know, like Dr. Jenkins, Dr. Dickerel have to do. You know, I thought about, you know, this was a thought long ago, but I thought about like maybe doing some kind of tech elective for like Fourier transforms, Fourier stuff, Fourier analysis. But that hasn't really materialized. I haven't had time. That, and it's a lot of work to put together a class, and especially like an elective class like that, where it's a little bit more loosey goosey with, you know, with a class like controls, dynamics, more standard classes. There's kind of some standard stuff of like, well, I have to teach about PID, I have to teach transfer theorem, I have to teach Euler's method, you know, that kind of stuff. But when it's like, yeah, here's a tech elective, it's just a vague idea in my mind, you know, it's like, okay, what should I teach? There's no blueprint, so it takes a lot of work to kind of put together like, what should I teach? What's you know, what kind of homework should I give? But that one might be fun. Or an optimization tech elective, I think would be really fun to teach. But the problem is optimization is really hard to teach to undergrads, because optimization is all linear algebra, and here we don't have linear algebra in our curriculum. And so consequently, you know, an optimization can't teach any of it. I'd have to teach linear algebra. So you know, I don't know how feasible that actually is, but it'd be fun, I think. And then the other is linear algebra, just because linear algebra is important. You guys should be taking it, you know, in my opinion. And so so it might be fun to do like a linear algebra course, but you know, I don't think the department would like. I think the department would be like, you go to the math department for that. Don't we're not going to waste our resources on linear algebra. So those, I guess, you know,
Okay.
students sometimes ask, are you going to teach fluids? Nope, never.
Not a thermofluids guy?
You guys don't want me teaching fluids.
Okay.
That'll be a train wreck. You guys are blessed to have not had me for fluids. No, yeah, I'm not a fluids guy. That's the beauty of engineering. There's a niche for everyone. Whatever you like, there are jobs for that. So fluids is not my what I like.
Well, you said never before, and it sort of happened. So
what did I say never before?
Well, you said like control, like, so I think you said like controls I would you, oh, I'll never teach that, or controls in like a regular semester, I'll never teach that, and here we are.
Well, so that's true, but part of the difference was I wanted to teach controls in a regular semester. You know, is more I was begging the department, please let me do it, and they're like, nah, get back of the line. And then controls lab, you know, I was open to the idea, but it's a certain amount of imposter syndrome for me, because I thought controls lab, that's gonna be a disaster if I teach. I'm not ready to do that. I don't know. You know, students are saying you controls lab, like calm down. Maybe long in the future, but not anytime soon. And then suddenly, just kind of materialized. You know, Dr. Schuler came in and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm totally pushing hard for you to teach controls lab. I have elected for you to do that." Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know. And I was like, you know what? Let's just lean in. Let's go marinate in the train wreck, and we'll all suffer together. Wasn't horribly terrible, right? Right, Ravina? It was okay. You survived.
That was awesome.
Oh, you're too
It was a
kind.
fun class.
It wasn't awesome. It was all right.
It was great. I really
you
liked
guys
the
were
class.
awesome. You guys were great. But
yeah, as much as a pain as it was sometimes, it was 100% just on the way like it is a lab.
Well, yeah, you know, the pain, that's not a bug, it's a feature.
Exactly.
You know, part of the rite of passage is the pain.
Yeah, the lectures are still fun though.
Oh, well, thank you.
The PNPID stands for pain.
Yeah, I did really enjoy the lecture when, you know, we just talked about Fabullus and his napkins, and I think it was when I was doing the demo on the floor. That was a fun one. What's up?
What is the plan for controls for the fall? I mean, for the spring, like with the in-person and online learning.
Was that Alina talking? Who was that talking?
I think that was Alina. Yeah, just distant.
You're so far away. It almost sounds like a horror movie or something where you've like been trapped inside the computer or something. The question was
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, you're totally back.
Yes. Okay, perfect. I was wondering how you planned on structuring your controls lab semester in the spring with the in-person learning and the online learning.
You know, I'm not entirely sure. So
okay.
You know, right now I'm thinking about kind of doing it sort of as a flipped classroom style type thing. So, you know, I'll do the lectures kind of, you know, quote unquote offline with a hyphen, online without a hyphen. How about that for a confusing answer? But, you know, kind of do the lectures not during regular class time, you know, and people can come on Zoom if they want and all that, and they'll be posted. And then maybe use the class time, the in-person class time, as kind of like a recitation. Or maybe I'll do lectures. I'm not sure. My standard answer to those kinds of things, I don't even know I'll be alive by then, which used to be like a really big joke answer, but now it's kind of morbid in 2020. But I haven't really had a lot of time to really worry or think about it too much. But it's going to be my understanding. I haven't had a chance to talk to Dr. Ridgway too much about it, but my understanding is we're still going to do the lab kits. And so I don't believe anyone's gonna have to come into lab. Everything will be done at home with your kit. And then, but maybe to get what you're getting at, whatever the face-to-face stuff ends up being, the lectures and the face-to-face stuff will be recorded and posted online. So that's an important aspect, important piece of information.
So like in-person attendance would be
Completely optional, 100% optional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the lecture stuff. For the lab stuff, I believe, again, it's going to be all kit-based and at home. So that's to my understanding. Last thing I've heard was, yes, that's the plan. But for the lecture stuff, it'll all face-to-face will all be optional. And not optional in the sense of like, oh, well, just don't come to class and read the book and become a super genius on your own. Whatever happens is going to be posted.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Brooks. Definitely don't want to take too much of your time since I know you kind of said an hour, so in case you have other stuff you have to do. But does anyone else have any final questions for him?
No, I ran out the clock. I filibustered all of their questions away.
It was amazing. Like you give really great answers, so it was really helpful.
You know, I'm just up here buying time. Sure. There's a question. Can we contact you with other questions if we have some? Sure. Do you have them now? I'm happy to answer it now. But sure. Pretty good about answering emails. If I don't answer within like 2 or 3 days, it's gotten lost, and ping me again. This is the first semester. You guys are. I sense that you guys are having a really tough semester online. If it helps at all, so are we on the instructor's side. We're all dying too. So the pain is mutual. So this is the first semester where I just have vast swaths of emails that I just haven't seen. I go through, I have a billion emails each day. I quickly look through and like kind of click on the ones that look like, oh, this is from a student. So I get a lot of spam stuff too. But this semester is the first semester where I'm just a bunch are falling through the cracks. So if I miss your email, it's not intentional. I'm not intentionally being rude, unintentionally being rude. So email me again. Be like, hey, I sent you an email. Didn't hear a response. I won't be offended. Cool. How are you guys doing?
It's been an interesting semester.
For sure.
Word.
Yeah.
Bad. Always doing bad.
Yeah, this is over the summer, I was teaching controls, so a lot of it was former students. So I didn't have to, I wasn't meeting new students over Zoom. So everyone kind of knew what they were getting into. We already had a rapport, and then there were a couple people I hadn't had before, and so they were the minority, and they got with the program because all the other students were like, shut up, we're part of the cult, join the cult or die. But then now, it's all new students, and I'm just like, hey guys, I'm like a fun guy, and it's like, I don't believe it, I don't buy it. doesn't translate over Zoom necessarily. So it's been really weird teaching students that I just have no idea who they are, because in controls lab, Jerry would say something and be like, oh, hey, Jerry, I already know Jerry. But now it's brand, it's been brand new people, but it's already the end of the semester. Now we're fams. Heart.
OG fan.
It also helps that you have some of the best TAs in the game.
That doesn't hurt when you have great TAs to help you. You having good TAs to make you look good. It's recipe for success. Same with students. You guys are really talented, and you go and have great accomplishments. And if you haven't yet, you will. And then it's really nice because then I say, hey, that person that did that really awesome thing, full credit, me, all me. That was all me. They would have been worthless without me. I did that. It's not me. I just we get to take credit. To you guys. Cool. Well, you know, I guess I should go back to grading. So I have some of my dynamic students here, and they're like, "Why don't I have my grade yet?" So I'm doing this. So that's my life for the next couple of days. Oh, your memeing skills have gotten better. That's nice. I'm glad. You know, I'm glad that I could be your Mr. Miyagi. You know, meme on, meme off.
Awesome. Thank you a lot again, Dr. Brooks. We appreciate you coming out.
I appreciate the invitation. Yeah, it's my pleasure. I hope it was actually good. No one's too bored.
It was great. You definitely calmed my my imposter syndrome down.
Well, that's good. Because imposter syndrome's a real thing, and everyone has it. You know, you can talk to people who've been working in an industry for like 40 years or in the team lead, and they'll be like, no, I'm the new guy. You want the really, that was, you know, David, who was like the really old guy when I started. He's the smart guy. I'm just sitting here faking it till I make it. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. And so, you know, we all feel that way. It's really, Starship Troopers. Anyone see Starship Troopers?
Yep.
They have there's a great scene that really just summarizes it so perfectly, because you know, for those who haven't seen it, Starship Troopers is about this guy Johnny Rico joins the space military, and goes off to war right out of high school, and so he's just this kid right out of high school, goes off to war, gets like impaled and stuff, but fortunately it's space, so like they have good medicine and stuff, he's fine. But so then you know, by the end of the movie, now like everyone's died in his unit, and he's now like the commander. He's the commanding officer, and like, you know, so they're ready for the final assault or whatever. And so then he gets like the new troops that he's gonna be leading, and he sees, and he's like, these are kids from like high school. These are all a bunch of kids, and they're like, yeah, they're fresh out of boot. And he says to his friend, "We're the old men, Ace." And you know, it so perfectly sums it up, because it's like, you know, he was that person, and then suddenly he's in charge, he's the old man. It's like, no, I'm not the old man, I'm just, you know, I'm getting impaled and stuff, I don't know what I'm doing. But now he's like the grizzled veteran that, you know, has been through hell and back, and and is in command. And that's how we all feel. You know, you'll feel the same way. You're gonna eventually, you'll say, I'm the old man. That's how I felt when I'm the Siddharth. So nice. I'm glad that I could assuage it a little bit, because it's okay to feel that way sometimes. All right.
Definitely.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. I appreciate everyone coming here. Got a big crowd. Sorry again that I was late.
No, you're totally fine. Thank you guys for coming. We'll see you guys at our next event.
All right. Yeah. Everyone come to the next event.
Yes, please do. For anyone who's still here who hasn't left yet, we're having a social on December 9th. So stay tuned, look at the emails, social media, all of that. Definitely join us.